okay? And then when we do the breakouts to play actual games, apply it then. See how it works out for you. Here's the 3 scenarios. When they are hitting the ball back to Jerry and myself, if you make a perfectly placed shot into the kitchen and the ball is going to bounce, that's go time. You need to go. All the experienced players agree with that, right? That's go time. Do not hesitate. Never hesitate. I am going to go over the exception in a second here, because there is an exception. If you anticipate, there's that word again, a ball by you 2 players that's going into the net, over the net, and bouncing the kitchen, you both see it, what do? You go. Do not hesitate. Here's the exception. We're not focusing on the exception today, though, but I want you to know it. If they hit a perfectly well-placed shot into the kitchen and it's a high bounce, that is an exception. You may not want to come all the way up. In other words, if they send a ball up and it comes here, that's go time. It's not going to be a high bounce. If it comes over a little bit high into the kitchen, but it's going to be a high bounce, we all know that's an exception because they can attack that ball, right? We're not going to focus on that today because I don't want to confuse you. What I want you to do is if you see the balls going into the kitchen and it's going to bounce, just go. Deal with the consequences. Because you could be right, you could be wrong. As you get better at this, you will understand the exceptions, and then maybe you'll come up a step or 2. Remember, if you can't make your way up all the way up, at least take a step or 2 up. Okay, so that's scenario 1. Scenario 2 is it doesn't bounce in the kitchen, and we have the opportunity to volley. Everybody knows what a volley is, right? We take it out of the air. I got some people that don't know, what does volley mean? It means take it out of the air. 2 scenarios. If the ball's coming over to our side, Jerry, you ready? They hit it up and you see that it's going too far, put your paddle up, but get behind the kitchen, get your ball in. And now he's gonna hit. The question begs, what do they do now? Stay, go, or come up 2 or 3 steps? Stop? And why would you say stop?
Stop and get ready. Come up.
Because he could attack it?
He can attack it.
Okay, that's the correct answer. There's no wrong answer, by the way. Anybody else have a different view of that? Would anybody just go if he had it right here? Would anybody go? Would you come up at least a step, though? Maybe? Remember, there's a million scenarios. All right, now I'm going to go over just a general rule of thumb when to come on any ball that's being volleyed. That is not the opportunity to come all the way to the line. There is an exception. I'm going to go over that too. That is not the time to come all the way to the line when they volley. The reason why is whether they can attack it or not attack it does not matter. But what it does mean is the ball is going to come back to you quicker because it never hit the ground. The ball is going to come back to you quicker. If it bounces, that buys you the time to come in, right? There's no time being bought when we have to volley. The exception is when you come up to the line, if he's following, did I lose him? Oh, it must be getting warm. He wants to show his guns now. Got to show his guns now. If Neil sends a really good 3rd shot drop or 5th, whatever the case is, over, and it's coming down to Jerry, get your paddle ready. And it's coming down, and let's say that ball is just below his knee area here. Go down. What would you do now?
Run.
Come all the way up?
Yeah. That's a thing.
Well, it's not a dink because he volleyed.
Oh, there's no bounce to it.
No bounce.
Yeah,
He's
that
balling
might be a
it.
lob, though. Yeah.
Well, we're not. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're not going to discuss the law. Go time. Okay, that's go time. At the very minimum, that is not stay where you're at. At the very minimum, it's come up at least halfway. You might not make it all the way to the line. Because yes, a player like me can still attack that ball and get it to you very quickly. The high skilled players can do it. So that might mean that you're going to come all the way up. If it's a low skilled player, I'd go all the way up.
But if it's coming down from there.
They can't attack that.
Right, but this trajectory would go up. It would come up.
Not if they got good paddle control.
Well,
If it's out,
New players, yes.
if it's out,
I'm sorry?
if it's out,
I mean, they're the exception.
Al's always
Yeah.
the exception,
They
right?
don't want to do that.
All right, so what we're going to focus on today, folks, is when that team sends the ball over to their opponent's side, we're going to go over 3 scenarios. Number 1, if it bounces, go. Even if it's a high bounce. I just want you to get used to doing it. You'll figure out as you go if it's a high bounce and you constantly get attacked, you know that don't come all the way up. Maybe come up a couple of steps or 2. If it's a high bounce, most players will attack that. Okay? Now, if they send it over and Jerry's going to volley below the net, so let's say that's 30, 34, so it's probably around 35 right here. Anything that's below that net, 35 inches or lower, you're going to come up halfway. So you can get the feel of coming up. Okay? The feel of coming up halfway. It would be wrong to stay where you're at. It's awfully hard to attack from there. It can. But at least come up halfway. If it's a volley that's above the net, that's when you don't do anything at all but get ready. Split step ready position. If Jerry can volley that ball above the net, he can add whatever pace he wants, right? Come across the ball. Come across the ball. Go ahead. Up higher. No, like you're going to attack. Like you're going to attack. Go ahead. He's going to attack and send that ball deep with quite a bit of pace. You do not want to get caught moving at all, ever. You need to stop and get ready. Split step ready position. Now, what is a split step ready position when you're being attacked in the transitional area? Yes, Mike knows. Get that paddle low. They are not going to make you volley back there. At the line, your paddle's up here because they can make you volley. No one's making you volley back there. All you have to do is just get out of the way. You're going to be doing digs from back here. The ready position is spread your feet out. Keep that paddle low so you can dig these balls. That's where they're coming. If they make you volley, that would not be a good strategy by your opponent. Keep your paddle low. Now let's do a couple of scenarios. Try to drop the best you can. And then if you get them all dropped, I'll just have you send some floaters up to me. So that would be a halfway, right? I would not come up all the way on that, right? Still came up to about 2 or 3 feet, right? That's go time. If that would have been over the net, that would have been a perfectly placed drop, right? Now this is going to be a good drill because the wind has kind of died down. We should be able to do this drill pretty well today. Go, 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 go! That, I said go, go, go. I'm not going to stay down here. That's just a bad half by half. Because I know right away whether it's a good shot or not. I know instantly. I want you to kind of get there too. All right, now, one more thing. When you're playing with your partner, and Neil had a very well-placed shot over here, and you went, right? You both went. But what if he doesn't know it's a well-placed shot? Should Neil say go or let's go or something like that? Yes. I do it all day long at Whitney, don't I? You guys that see me play, I tell my partner go. Right? Ideal. That's a go. See that? I see an attack pass. Did they do the right thing? Did I say go that time or not? Yes, I did say go. I gotta stop that. How are you gonna learn if I tell you what to do? That's the instructor in there. All right, Bill, ready? That is go time. Right, that's go time.
Well, a little hot.
Yeah, I went that way. No, it bounced in the kitchen, didn't it?
Correct.
The initial.
But it was high.
Yes,
That's what you were talking
that's
about.
the exception. But for today, we're not concerned about that.
Okay.
I want you to get used to knowing that it's going to bounce in the kitchen. Go. We'll deal with high bounce things later on. Okay, as you get better at this, you'll recognize it. I just want you to know the three scenarios. Number one, drops in the kitchen, go. Number two, if we volley below the net, go halfway. If we have to volley above the net, stop and get ready. That's your three scenarios. And for you guys that drill on Sunday mornings, try it. You're experienced enough to know that high bounce things have to go all the way. You're already at that point, right? But give this a try, okay? All right, here we go. And you lift, right? All bounce and you lift. Now, at what point, if you send it kind of high, at what point did you decide, oh, I know it's going to bounce and I'm going to go? You did?
Exactly.
What did you say?
As soon as the wind knocked it down.
Hey, I tell the jokes.
That's not a joke. No,
No,
that
no,
was, I
yeah, but I
hesitated.
saw you laughing.
No, it's actually true. That's what happened. You see, I went up halfway.
Yeah.
Then when I saw the wind knock it down, I came all the way up.
So, yeah,
Finish playing. Nice to play.
that's good. That's a good thing. All right, here we go. Here we go. Go, go, go. That was go time, right? All right, send a couple of floaters over there. Let's cover that, and then we'll do the breakouts. That is stop and get ready. See that? See that? Handle it. You got to stop and get ready on the floaters. You volley above the net, you put pace on it. You really want to get caught running up there? So the whole theory of go when you can, as fast as you can, it is true if it's well played.